What's up, fam? Welcome back to another Pep Wednesday where I put a little pep in your step for your midweek blues. This week I have an exciting episode. Ashlyn sent in a wonderful question. She asks, how do I get the courage to ask for more money? And this is a brilliant question. So there's two ways I could approach this. One is through practical strategies and the second is mindset. And in this video, I'm going to focus on mindset because unless you understand mindset or the type or frame of mindset you need to be in, you won't be able to apply the strategies that I can talk about. All right, so when looking at mindset, there's two key reasons why I see this problem occurring where you don't have the courage to ask. So the first one is imposter syndrome. So that's where we are unsure of our own value and the value of our work. The second one is scarcity mentality. So this is where we imagine that there isn't enough work out there, and we're worried about not getting that job. And if we don't take that job, we're going to lose out on a big opportunity. So the big question is, why do we have imposter syndrome? So let's start off by clarifying that it's not just you. Most of us creatives go through a phase of feeling like imposters at some level in our careers. So let's acknowledge this is a normal thing that we all go through. The question is, how do we deal with imposter syndrome and why do we feel this way? So imposter syndrome is this belief or this feeling that our abilities don't match up. We believe that our abilities and our skills are not as great as what other people believe about ourselves. So why do we feel this way? Maybe we feel we're unqualified. Maybe we never went through art college and we've been creating work. We've learned on our own. And so because we don't have a quote unquote qualification, maybe we feel like we're imposters. Other reasons might be that there is an unrealistic expectation that you think other people have of you that you feel like you cannot meet, or you doubt your own skills and your own abilities. You can't see the level of growth you've had, or you're a perfectionist and so you're always striving to make yourself better and so never see the true value of what you already have. These all stem from this fact that most of us are unable to see, or we are blind to our own value. We perceive everybody else outside of ourselves more creative, more valuable than us. Often the case is that we put all our value in what we produce or our work rather than in who we are. So it's important to know it's all about who you are, not what you do. So how do we go through this? How do we deal with imposter syndrome? How do we get over it? So the best way I found to deal with it is to actually talk about it, to write it down. So it's important to acknowledge these feelings you're having. You cannot just brush it to the side because it'll always stay there in the back of your head. But by stepping forward, stepping into the light, by confessing it to a good close friend that you trust and talking through these feelings you have, they will be able to encourage you through this process. The other key thing is actually writing down how you feel. Because when you write it down, it comes out of your head and it's on paper. And now you can clarify your thoughts. It's not just all these mixed emotions and feelings that are in there. There's three questions I think that are key to ask yourself. What have I achieved? What are my fears? And what are my goals? Write all three of these down. So what have I achieved? So walk through the different accomplishments you've had. And that could even be the fact that you've learned this skill on your own just using YouTube, whereas other people had to go through a course, so that is an ability. Not everybody can do it that way. So it's important to place the value in the things that you've already done. Second thing is write down what things you fear. about your work, about your skills. And by writing it down, you can now acknowledge what is real and what is more imagined. And the third is to write down what are your goals. So say you currently charge 300 euro for an illustration or a design, but you want to eventually charge 1,000 euro for your design or illustration or whatever creative craft you do. The big question now that you've got a goal is to ask yourself, okay, by asking for more, what do I lose and what do I gain? You don't gain anything if you don't ask. Whereas if you ask, the potential is you get the amount or the value that you're looking for. The second reason why we are unable to ask for more is that we undervalue what we bring to the table when we're dealing with other businesses. It's important to understand that we are not just illustrators, designers, artists, or whatever creative job title you have. You are also a business. And as a business, you are providing a very particular service for your client. And that service is going to help your client do one thing or another. And the value of that will vary based on the type of job you are doing for them. So that's the first thing. You don't work for your client, but you work with them. You're on an equal footing. You're both businesses and you're helping each other. You both find value out of what your service provides. Okay, it's an equal exchange of value. So now that you understand it's an equal exchange of value, if you think back when you first started out, or maybe you're still starting out right now, what happens is often because this is the first job in the door, you are desperate to pick it up. You don't want to lose this opportunity. And in this desperation, you oversell yourself and you undercut your price. And what that does in the client's mind is it reduces their confidence in you. They might be saying like, why is it so cheap that this service is provided? And they can either choose to go ahead with you because they're like, oh, we just wanted something cheap and this is perfect. Or the second is they choose a different artist or illustrator or designer to work with because they feel like this person doesn't know what they're worth. I'm not confident in their skills if this is the level that they charge at. So this mindset over here is a mindset of scarcity. So you believe that there is only a finite amount of jobs, and if you do not pick up this specific job, you lose out on a big opportunity. I can promise you this, there are lots and lots of opportunities out there. It's just learning to see which opportunities are the right opportunities for you. You do not want to be working with a client that does not value what you have to provide. Now, how you do this is by gauging if the client is interested in you for your work, your specific perspective, your abilities, or if they're just in it for a cheap output. And if they are in it for a cheap output, that's okay. You just recommend them to something like Fiverr or a freshly graduated student who doesn't really know what they're doing, and you can say to them, if you're looking for something that is cheap, here are some great options. I will recommend you that, but there's no guarantee on the quality. Whereas if you work with me, my hope is that I provide the best quality, most valuable thing that will help your business thrive in whatever area that you provide a service. Now, when you approach a client in this way, when you approach it in a sense that you're starting to talk the language of business, you're not just talking about art and crafts, you're talking about things that affect the business, you are seen as more valuable to the client. You are seen as more confident. Your ability to articulate value is important. value both for yourself and for your client. So to sum up, the two key issues we face in finding courage to ask for more are, number one, understanding our own value and the value of our work. And number two is scarcity mentality. And this needs to be flipped to a mindset of abundance. And when we work from a mindset of abundance, we are confident and we're able to say no to the jobs that are not right and yes to the ones that align well with your value and the value that the client will gain from the work you do. I hope you found this helpful. If you did, please let me know in the comments. Please do like and subscribe and share it with a friend that might find this talk helpful. That's it for this week. I'll see you next week.